Welcome back to Between the Lines. In our last episode, the last episode that we talked about the shadow line, because we had lots of episodes, if we're being honest, I shared the moment I realized all of my novels were quietly connected, a discovery that surprised even me. Today, we're stepping into the first of those connections. The shadow line, a boundary that appears across my books, even when I didn't know I was writing it. Let's start with what the shadow line is not. It is not a portal. It is not a monster. It is not a place you can point to on a map. It's not even a single thing. The shadow line is a boundary of perception, the thin place between what we understand and what we sense but cannot name. It's the moment when intuition sharpens, when memory distorts, when the world feels slightly misaligned. It's the feeling that something is standing just behind you, but when you turn, nothing is there. It's the shift in the air before the truth arrives. It's the silence that isn't empty. Across my novels, the shadow line is the place where trauma echoes, ancestry stirs, the unseen observes, and characters begin to change, not because they cross it intentionally, but because it notices them. I didn't realize I was writing the shadow line until years later, but it shows up everywhere, not as a plot device, but as a pressure in who we were. It's the quiet intuition that something larger is shaping the family story. In The Soul Keepers, it's the metaphysical hum beneath Roman's journey, the sense that immortality carries a cost that isn't always visible. In The Ashbourne, it's the ancient echo beneath the ash tree, where memory and myth blur into something alive. In Abigail, it's the moment she feels watched in a world that should be predictable. In Finding Bonnie, it's the ancestral pull, that sense that identity is shaped by more than experience. And in Rachel, the shadow lines become intimate. It becomes unavoidable. Rachel doesn't cross it, she brushes it, and it brushes back. One of the questions I get asked most often is, why these characters? Why did they feel the shadow line when others don't? The answer is simple. The shadow line responds to sensitivity, not psychic ability, not magic, not destiny. Sensitivity. People who notice too much, people who feel too deeply, people who carry trauma, empathy, intuition, or ancestral weight. People who stand slightly outside the world everyone else accepts. Across my novels, these characters share traits. They sense patterns others overlook. They feel connections they can't explain. They carry emotional or generational burdens. They are open to the unseen, even when they don't want to be. The shadow line doesn't choose them because they're special. It chooses them because they're available. And once it notices someone, forgetting becomes impossible. This is where things get interesting. Rachel is the first book where the shadow line becomes visible enough to feel, but still invisible enough to remain unnamed. Rachel doesn't know what she's sensing. She doesn't know why certain moments feel wrong. She doesn't know why her intuition spikes at the exact second something shifts. She only knows that something is there, watching, responding, and whatever that something is, it feels familiar, but it's not human. Rachel is not crossing into another world. She's standing at the edge of one. And at that edge, that boundary is the shadow line. Readers will feel it long before they understand it. And that's intentional. The shadow line is not meant to be explained. It's meant to be experienced. The shadow line is the connective tissue of my entire universe. It links the ancient, the modern, the mythic, the ancestral, the psychological, the spiritual. It's the place where stories overlap without touching, where characters echo each other without meeting, where themes repeat across centuries. It's the boundary that makes the universe feel alive, and it's only just beginning to reveal itself. Thank you for joining me on Between the Lines. Next time, we'll explore the liminal line, the threshold between worlds, eras, and identities, the place where characters transform, where stories bend, and where the universe expands. Until then, stay curious, stay open, and stay just a little bit on the edge of the liminal.